Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. I'm of course the Battle Room, and today I'm joined by a brand new guest that I've never featured before, and that is none other than Montana Mont, number 4th in the world. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, I'm doing good. I'm very excited to be here and to make my debut on the channel.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here because I think it's just a really cool, experience to talk about your set. Considering you went so deep at the World Championships, the biggest tournament of the year, you had a insane not your breakout performance because you've won a regional, but this is like a huge accomplishment. Like this is what players dream of. So I'm glad you're here and we can talk about your experience.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's just finally setting in now that I got top four. So it's very crazy and was very happy I was able to make it so far on the day.
Yeah, and I mean going into this one, we can talk about your team a little bit, right? Because obviously we're gonna break down your set versus Michael, but obviously the teams here are very similar. So how did you arrive at this team, and what was your process in building this one?
Yeah, so I'm totally a Shadow Rider main, and I was thinking I was trying a bunch of different teams with it. Mostly Shadow Rider Zamazenta, but also I tried Shadow Rider Miraidon, and some other ones. But I kept thinking that the Sash Shadow Rider was good, and I kept coming back to that because I liked that with the Sash Shadow Rider teams, it feels like you have more real Pokemon besides it. The POW and the Bolt and the Zamazenta, and that they can accomplish a little more, whereas the Life Orb Shadow Rider teams, those ones, they tend to have a lot of support Pokemon Smeargle, Incineroar, Rillaboom, and they're kind of going all in on the Shadow Rider. And I was getting annoyed by that because if your Shadow Rider dies on those teams, then the game is kind of over. Whereas with the Sash Shadow Rider, you get to kind of play around with all your pieces more. And the tricky thing is though with these teams is the Chien-Pao item can be hard to figure out because it wants Sash really bad, but Sash is already on the Shadow Rider. And the Assault Vest Chien-Pao had been kind of a meta development going into Worlds. It did well in a Japanese grassroots tournament, and it had been rising in popularity, especially because it can take those electric hits from Miraidon. So I was pretty confident that the three were going to be Shadow Rider, Zamazenta, and then the Assault Vest Chien-Pao. And then I was trying a bunch of stuff, and I was talking with some different friends, and I was chatting with one of my friends, Samvi, who was also a big Shadow Rider Zamazenta enthusiast, and he had been trying Dragonite a lot, and he felt that Dragonite was really good because it could help you play versus other Shadow Riders, especially the Terra Dark ones, because you could force them to Terra Dark and then just go crazy with the Terra Normal E-Speed. You could also bring Dragonite into lots of other matchups and just start clicking priority moves. Even Low Kick can be very good versus a lot of teams because it can do damage into Zamazenta and Rillaboom and stuff. So we were pretty confident that hey, Dragonite's good, and the team is mostly Shadow Rider, Zamazenta, Chien-Pao, Dragonite, and then we needed to figure out some last two Pokemon, and we tried a lot of different things Volcarona or Ogerpon Hearthflame, but it ended up just being that we felt Raging Bolt and Amoonguss were that classic duo to kind of tie the team together. And I had a lot of experience with them as well. So that's kind of how I got at the team. It was kind of pretty late. It was about maybe, I don't know, a week before Worlds that I locked on this. I was bouncing around between a lot of different Shadow Rider versions, but I was happy to find a bit of some people to talk with about the team going into it before. So yeah, that's kind of how I arrived at it.
I feel lately too, at least these past 3 Worlds in my experience, a lot of players don't have their team until the week before. Some people even later, they'll get it 2 days, 3 days before, right? So I feel that's just kind of a common trend is people are I feel we're just so much better at the game than we were in prior World Championships. So sometimes the meta is literally changing week of, where you're oh yeah, dude, are you prepared for the AV Chien-Pao? something it can just kind of pop up. But obviously, you said, you were just such a Calyrex Shadow one trick, and I know I know about your Death Note of Shadow Riders. I feel you gotta tell them about your Death Note.
Yeah, well, basically I would just scout every single person on ladder who used Shadow Rider, and I put them all into like a Google Doc and would see who was like performing the best, with like which teams got that like were very high on ladder or had good ratings or had lots of wins and losses. So I was scouting all the Shadow Rider players, trying to find what teams were working out. Definitely played some, high ladder set. Although honestly, I feel like ladder had a lot of the Life Orb Terra Dark one, and like you said, the meta was moving so fast. Like one of the big developments within the past couple weeks before Worlds was a lot of the Dark Shadow Riders, the Life Orb ones, were going modest, and that's something I kind of noticed. And part of why I picked this version is I felt it was like I did some testing versus Chuppa of a bunch of Shadow Rider mirrors, and we realized this team was like really good versus those modest Shadow Riders. So like you said, the meta was just moving so fast, and I kept trying to think, well, is this good into like the other things that are popular rising, like, and then it's just trying to come on top when the music stops and it's time to play Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is actually nuts because we know you as like the Shadow Rider friend. Like, I feel like no one else in like our Discord server where we practice plays Shadow Rider but you. Like, it's very. I mean, I played it for one tournament, but that's about it. No one else really touches the thing. So it was really cool, like, to see you become the best Shadow Rider player, almost the best Shadow Rider player in the world. Like, like you're so
best
close.
Shadow Rider Zamazenta.
Yeah, best Shadow Rider Zama. But yeah, so going into this matchup, we'll talk about the matchup now. How did you feel? Like, because you're playing like a 5-mon mirror. There's obviously some item choices, or I don't think there's actually item choices. It's mostly just the moves, some small things, right? How did you feel about this matchup going into Michael, who's like at this point like one of the best players in the world? He's gotten Worlds, he got second at Worlds, third at Worlds, and now he's playing you in top 8. Were you feeling nervous? Like, how are you feeling going into this?
So I was feeling definitely a bit nervous about playing Michael and playing like on stage and in front of all those people in the crowd. And I was actually like, what I didn't think would make me nervous was playing on stream side too. Because like knowing that people can see when I click all the moves and stuff, and like, the whole world is watching me on Twitch, like locking those moves, like there's a lot of pressure. But I feel like I was able to get a good handle on it and just like channel it into like being like, let's go. And for the matchup though, I was actually feeling a little, or if you want to rewind the video where it was showing my team, I was feeling a little good because of a specific tech choice on the team that I hadn't mentioned yet, but it is the Icy Wind on the Chimpao. I had felt that going into Worlds, and this was the idea that literally Samvi came up with like the day before the tournament, like, or he had like floated it, but we didn't try it out until the day before, was that Icy Wind on Chimpao helps a lot in the Shadow Rider Zamazenta mirror, because like you don't have to worry about, if like my Zamazenta is slower, they're just gonna, ruination and body press the crap out of my Zamazenta or stuff like that. Like it just it helped. And also Icy Wind chipping the other Shadow Rider is really good, like especially versus the Sash one. So I actually felt that gave me like this tiny edge in the matchup. And also I had played a very similar matchup at Portland. I played on stream versus Emilio Forbes in a Sash Shadow Rider Zamazenta mirror. So I actually felt a lot more comfortable this time around because I had like practiced the mirror a lot and had thought a lot about it. And like, when I played in that Portland set, I'd made a lot of mistakes, like not tearing my Zamazenta, that I was able to sort of correct here in this set versus Michael. So the matchup itself, I was actually like, it's a mirror, so it's a little volatile, but I think I can, I have a little bit of the edge because of my team.
Yeah, I remember joking with, because we watched this live and we were in the audience, and I remember telling Alex, I was like, dude, it's like the Batman meme, where it's like the Bane meme, where he's like, I was born in the darkness, you merely adopted it. And it was like, you've been playing Shadow Rider for years, right? Like at this point. And so it was just like, you literally, like, you just brought it up without me mentioning it. You recalled your set from like Portland. You're like, I've been in this situation 100 times before. I'm ready to play.
Yeah, and It's funny because that was like, on stream versus, I think Emilio's a world's finalist, right?
He is, yeah, in 2018.
So this is funny. This is my second time playing a world's finalist on stream in the Sash Shadow Rider Zamazenta mirror. I didn't even realize that until now. So yeah, but obviously I was still very nervous because matchup, like whatever. MDB is still an amazing player.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was heavily favored to like even potentially win the tournament. So I knew, even if I had a good matchup, this was still going to be extremely difficult. And this one's for all the marbles. Like we were playing for a lot of prize money on the line, for a world's qualification was on the line for next year's worlds, and obviously getting further in the tournament. So yeah, a lot of stuff on this match. I knew it was going to be hard no matter what.
Yeah, and also the trophy. I feel like the trophy is like the sickest part, right? Like, because getting top 8 is awesome and it's an insane achievement, but you don't get the trophy. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah,
I feel like it would just be so heartbreaking to lose in top 8 because you're so close. You're literally sometimes one game away from an extra $5,000 and the trophy.
And the special card. And
the card.
Yeah, the trophy. The trophy was very, very cool.
But yeah, so what are you thinking lead wise when you're going into this one? Like, what are you expecting from him, and what are you trying to do with your leads?
Yeah, so lead wise, I really like to lead Zama Pao into these mirrors. It's just like something that I feel like you end up having a lot of good options into. There's some very specific things he can do that can make that difficult, but I think most people don't do those in game ones, I found. So I was like, I think I can just do, my Zamazenta Chien Pao, and then it's always Shadow Rider. And then in the back, I usually like to have like Raging Bolts in these kind of games because Thunderclap is good at like picking off a lot of stuff. Like Heavy Slam, if you get a Heavy Slam on the opposing Shadow Rider early, then it will be in Thunderclap range, for example, from Bolt in the back. So I like having Bolt. Versus Sash Shadow Rider, Dragonite does not usually come to the matchup because it's like it's not going to get to E-Speed or really do anything. So it's like, maybe it could Aqua Jet in the back but it's like you don't really want to bring it. That's more for the other kinds of Shadow Rider teams. So it was always like, I really like Zama Pao, unless I'm calling out that he's going to do something specific. But for game one, I'm just like, let's go with what I think I can navigate pretty well.
Yeah, and then like, I guess for you, like, are you expecting just like a 4-mon, like just full on mirror, right? Like, because you're not really expecting Cornerstone or his Dragonite either, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Although I think you can bring Cornerstone into this, or I know, like, I think Emilio did that for me as well. So I was definitely expecting the Zama Pao as well, which he did, and then the Shadow Rider, and then it's kind of just like a mystery of what that third Pokemon is. But I think everyone's always bringing Zamazenta, Chien Pao, and Shadow Rider. But you could also lead Shadow Rider. I don't think that's the worst either, but I think Zama Pao is good into those. Yeah, we both lead right away. I think I saw that his Zamazenta was faster than mine. So like, I already know I'm going to need like Icy Wind, or, if I want to move before it. And yeah, sometimes these Zamazentas, like, I don't think you want to protect on turn one because it's like the POW is just like so open. Then sometimes they Terra the POW in these board states versus, but his was Ghost, so like I knew that would, Heavy Slam would still get damage on it potentially. But yeah, there's a lot of ways these opening turns can go. Like, see, he does end up Terra Ghosting the POW, but I always like tearing the Zamazenta in these kinds of board positions in these games because it's like, I think it usually makes your Zamazenta live about one turn longer, which is all you need. Because I don't think I'm going to need the Terra on Shadow Rider or Bolt. So this is what I learned in my set versus Emilio, is that like, I think I always want to Terra the Zama earlier just because you're going to get one more turn out of it.
Yeah, I mean, this turn one is also like a really good showcase, like you mentioned earlier, of that Icy Wind. Like, it's just so big here. Because he is faster than you, but you just don't care. You're like, I'm going to smash him.
Yeah, and now he's not. And I think like, him kind of leaving the Zama open is just because I could have doubled the Chien Pao, especially because it's like, it can protect and the Zamazenta can protect, like classic. Yeah, me not tearing the POW means it does die right away, but I think getting the Icy Wind off to make both my Zama faster than his Zama and his POW is very much worth it. And I actually ended up bringing Amoongus. I forgot. I thought I brought Bolt. I think it was because there was a specific line where like I knew Amoongus could be good as like a defensive switch in versus Zamazenta Pow if Shadow Rider hasn't hit the field yet. So I think I was bringing it to help with that. Although in hindsight, I think I should have brought Bolt. I think I was getting a bit in my own head about trying to respect that Zamazenta Pow too much. Because like Zamazenta would be in Thunderclap range here, for example, and I know that my Bolt would live like an Ice Spinner from his Pow. But it is the Amoongus here, which is good in that board position. So he maybe calls the like body press into Zama, because obviously Heavy Slam won't kill it, which he gets correct. I do body press it, but I think I covered this slot with a Spore, if I remember correctly. So I don't think I was too upset about this, or I spored someone.
I think you did the POW. Yeah, it was the POW.
Oh yeah, I did the POW. I think I did the POW because the Zama could have protected that turn.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like this is always a free sleep. Yeah, and yeah, I think here I know like obviously the Amoongus could go. He's gonna want to like Psychic it, is what I was thinking, because it's like Astral is so scary to click Astral in front of some of these wide guard board positions. So, and I think even if my Amoongus dies, I'm kind of like okay with that because I get Shadow Rider in and then I can go for speed ties. So I assume I actually kind of forget. I think I go for like wide guard Spore or something, or I go for Heavy Slam Spore.
Yeah, I think I remember the Heavy Slam. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Heavy Slam is still good for chipping the Focus Sash on the Shadow Rider so that I can Astral later. Yeah, that's why I went for the Heavy Slam. And he did bring the D-Knight, which is really interesting to me because like I don't think of it coming very often in this matchup. Yes, my bulky Zamazenta spread that I love very much tanks that Astral Barrage, and I do get the Heavy Slam chip. Okay, so yeah, I think I was covering my bases because like even if Amoongus died, I was still happy with the outcome of this turn because I can always go for speed ties. That's the thing. Like I think having Amoongus and maybe that opening turn didn't go amazingly for me, but this game you can always kind of bring it to those speed ties in the end. And you never want to chicken out with the speed ties, I've learned in the mirror. If you try to like chicken out and play around it, it's usually going to go bad. Like if the game is heading that way, you just have to go for it. So I'm like, hey, I think that's how I can get ahead here.
Yeah, it's really because like we've talked about it a lot where like we call it the prophecy that no matter how well you play or how bad your opponent plays, it will always come down to a Shadow Rider speed tie. And so this is just that. I remember watching the set live too, and I was like, guys, the prophecy's coming true. Like he can't escape the speed tie. It's coming, and Michael's gonna have to play around it here.
Yeah. So I think he does. I think actually it is correct of him to definitely go for this protect, and then because the Dragonite I believe should always let's see how much it takes from this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it should live that, and then it does get to go for. You get to go for Outrage, and the Outrage target. I think it's actually good Outrage target. Yeah, I guess he's happy with that,
right? Because otherwise he would just E-speed your Zam. I guess he doesn't want to be locked into it, but
yeah. But here's where it gets really scary for him, because it's like, if I win the speed tie, I'm in an amazing position here.
Yeah.
So, I guess he didn't have many amazing. Obviously, you can't lock. I don't think you can lock E-speed because you can never hit the Calyrex.
Yeah.
So, and I think you need chip on it so that you can put yourself in the position where if he wins the speed tie now, he just wins the game. So, but if I win the speed tie, which I do, I'm still in this. And yeah, so I'm feeling good. I'm like, oh, that turn was very good for me. I can kind of see the victory for game one in the future. But maybe I'll get a little too ahead of myself. I don't want to spoil this. I also think I was like kind of nervous in this moment because I'm like, wow, I made it through that turn. I was just like, I could feel the rush. Like I was so kind of exhilarated that I don't think I was thinking very clearly in this next turn.
Because Pow, he hasn't used any sleep turns, right?
Correct. The Pow is at 0 turns of sleep. I'm at +2 special attack. The Pow can't protect. and I choke this turn majorly. I mean, you've already just seen it. I click Psychic into the Zamazenta, which is a huge choke because it should always be Psychic POW 100% of the time. There's nothing. This should be a guaranteed win for me at this point. But I think in my like nervousness, I don't even know. Maybe I had forgotten I got the Grimnay boost, and I was thinking he has to wide guard to not die to Astral, and like Psychic wouldn't get there. But of course, I did have the Grimnay boost, so Psychic would always kill POW. Like, this is just a total throw on my end, you know. And yeah, it's kind of I'm upset because like I would almost 100% of the time find this correctly, and I just didn't there for whatever reason. And then I guess it's just like, yeah, heavy slam the POW, but that's not getting me anywhere because now I'm at the risk of him waking up. Like if I had just Psychic to the POW there, I should have been a 100%. Actually, well, yeah, it should have been 100% victory because he can't KO both, and I would have gotten a move off onto Zamazenta.
Yeah, I've talked about it a lot, honestly, whenever we review sets, because like I think Pokemon's a really fun game, and I think that it's really interesting, like especially at the highest level, right? And sometimes it's really just comes down to fatigue, right? Like at this point in the day, you've played 3 rounds of Swiss, and you played 2 more rounds to make it here. Did you have to play? No, you skipped the play, and you got to buy. Yeah,
I did luckily get to skip one. But yeah, here he gets the wake up, and that's like horrible for me. He goes for Ice Shard, and yeah, I kind of he fights his way back. I choked, and then he was able to bring it back. So good on him for that. But yeah, just like nervousness and fatigue, and yeah, I felt like I had played a lot of really good Pokemon, like the on my Swiss rounds, that maybe I had like expended all my mental energy on that.
Yeah, how did it feel like when you were at this point, right? Because you're now down 0-1 against Michael, and again, what did he put you on his tier list? Like not a good time or whatever. Like,
or I think he had put me out like maybe 4-4 or something, which I don't even really blame him given some of my placements this season. But yeah, although what's weird is I don't think I was actually like. I don't think at this point I was like, oh crap, like he just beat me, like, oh it's going south, it's over. I think I was thinking like, nah, I just don't bring a Mungus, and I think I've got this. And key thought I also had is he saw me do Zama POW game 1, and I think he adjusts to that. And one way that you can adjust to that is by actually just leading a Mungus. Because Ice Spinner can't clear it in 1. And it's like it's kind of annoying for that specific board position of Zama POW. So I kind of thought he might lead Amoongus. And this is all something. Oh, wow, that was a big pop off.
That was a big one. Dude.
I never noticed that. Yeah, so I was thinking maybe he punishes it by leading Amoongus. So I want to switch up my leads. And yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that's I feel like this is such a good set of like. To show your mastery of Shadow Rider Zama too, just because like you know all these situations over and over again, right? You're like, all right, he's leading Amoongus, I'm gonna punish that, right? So what do you do to punish Amoongus? You just lead Shadow Rider then?
Yeah, and it'll come up in a second, but there's some uncertainty because some Amoonguses can live a Shadow Rider Psychic, and some don't. Like for example, mine does. And I had thought that like. Most Amoonguses live that, but yeah, we'll see. Who knows?
So you just rip the double restricted lead into his Zama Amoongus.
Yeah, because I knew it was good into Amoongus, and this lead is pretty flexible. Like even if he had done something like Zama POW, I don't think it was over on the spot. Right. So that's why I went with it. I was thinking maybe he would do like Protect Spore seems so risky, but in these high intensity games, it can be kind of hard to call like how risky people are going to play it. But I just felt I wanted to chuck a Psychic into that Amoongus. I don't know why I'm hovering Protect here. I was hovering a lot of weird moves that I think I was never going to click. But I think I was just nervous because of the I think I was deciding if I wanted to go for a Scout. I did end up going for a Scout. So
huge Scout.
Yeah. Because the Scout, I think the Scout covers for a Protect Spore play. Kind of. Like, it just gives them less options on the following turn. And also, it just gets you free info if they Terra. So, I did go for the Scout. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself thinking of the next turn. Yeah. And the Scout felt safe. I thought the only way he punishes the Scout is by going for some, like, hard switch. And, even if it's Shadow Rider and he has the Encore pressure then, I could win the speed tie. So, and I could even wide guard in front of the potential Shadow Rider Encore. So, yeah, I was thinking like, I think the Scout is okay here. It's not going to be too hard punished. And then I go for what I wanted to go for, which is just kind of ripping into the Amoonguss, which I know is safe now because, not being able to Terra the Amoonguss is pretty big. Like, he can't go water. So, yeah. And I double it with Heavy Slam, ultimately, and not Body Press because I didn't think it was going to die, and two, I was like, well, maybe he does something weird, like switches in Shadow Rider or has some sort of switch where I was like, maybe Heavy Slam is better, but I think maybe it should have been Body Press as the double.
I respect the Heavy Slam, right? Like, just in case Shadow Rider comes in, you don't want to let that thing get away with it. Yeah,
because it would, like, it's obviously not taking much. I mean, it would have been still valuable to chip the sash on it. But, yeah, I do go for the Heavy Slam. He doesn't protect the Amoonguss. I mean, Psychic hits the Amoonguss and it KOs. So he's physical Amoonguss. And you're about to see the world's biggest Heavy Slam, which does 0 damage into other Zamazenta.
You crit him too, right? And it does so little.
And Behemoth. Also, Heavy Slam is a bit favored in the mirror too, because Behemoth, well, at least I guess it doesn't matter for his team, but in my case, like Heavy Slam puts them in the Thunderclap range on the Shadow Rider. So that I always liked having Heavy Slam in these mirrors more for doing a little extra damage to opposing Shadow Rider.
How much do they do to POW? How much does Heavy Slam do?
It kills it. It KOs it.
Okay.
Both Behemoth and Heavy Slam usually KO other POW.
Okay. Because, yeah, I mean, that was a great turn one. You got a boost. He did break your sash, but at this point, too, you're, like, out of Psychic range, right? So you're able to potentially just wide guard and not even have to play speed ties.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think that's probably why he goes the POW, too, because, like, he's threatening, potentially Sucker on the Shadow Rider. But he had just Behemoth bashed, so I think that's why I was hovering Encore. I felt pretty good because I was, like, obviously up Pokemon at this point, so I was like, maybe I can go for just like good trades, I actually don't remember what I ended up selecting here.
Yeah, I mean, like, that turn one too, like, you basically got a whole Pokemon for just half your Shadow Rider, right? Like, it's still healthy enough to do a lot of work.
And Zamazenta is looking so good, and like versus other Zamazenta POW, and I'm at full, like, sure, he can Ruination me, but if that POW obviously can't protect, he could only potentially switch in Shadow Rider. I think Heavy Slamming it is, like, always guaranteed to get me so much value. And, he does, he kind of reads it. He goes for the Ruination, and he goes for the Bash into the Shadow Rider, I think, which is kind of like, hedging his bets. Maybe he had to call that, honestly, to stay in the game. But yeah, Heavy Slam gets so much value. It's always going to do good work into that slot. And then Protect was just good because it also covered the potential Sucker Punch pressure and saves you from getting Behemoth bashed, which would have put me into Psychic range.
You would have actually probably just fainted, right? Because his Zam's faster, so he would have had Sword of Rune.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so he actually would have just got you, but
so
the Protect was clean.
Yep. And then here I think honestly just going for these, like, I think wide guard and attacking to just know that I can chip the sash is very good value. Because even if at worst he protects any Behemoths, my Shadow Rider, I still am alive and would have to win another mind game / speed tie. But yeah, he goes for the Encore here, which I'm, like, totally fine with. I'm like, I'll just keep Psychicking. Because 99 to 53, that's what, like 46 or whatever. So another one I could still live. That's why Terra Dragoning the Zamazenta is so nice in these matchups. It just takes them so many hits to get through it.
I feel like Zam is just so good into, like, your own team. Like, when you have to fight enemy Zams, it is, like, just really annoying.
Yeah, you got to make sure. And I was thinking here about, like, I want to preserve Raging Bolt potentially to deal with Zamazenta too. So, yeah, I think I did get this turn wrong because I attacked into Zamazenta, correct? Yeah. But I'm still thinking because of my huge Pokemon lead, it's like, even if I got these turns wrong, I'll still be in a fine spot.
Yeah, especially like you have the whole Pow. He can't Terra, right? I mean, not that Terra can
Yeah.
save him at this point, but his sash is gone. Pow's ready to go. It's just that mind game of like Sucker Punch versus Encore. But he is
Yeah,
also
yeah.
getting closer to that Thunderclap range too, where it just becomes really easy.
Yep, yep. And I was getting a bit excited here because I'm like, oh, I can sucker Encore, but then I remembered I was Encored myself into Psychic. So I can't Encore. But I think this is still good for me, just because the Chi and Pao is applying so much pressure here to the Shadow Rider. He's already Encore. You can't Encore when I'm already Encored, so that wouldn't work. And then you can't Encore the Pao because it just switched. So I was like, I think he goes for Protect on the Sucker Punch pressure because he doesn't really have, anything else to do. And I think even Ice Spinner could potentially pick up the Shadow Rider now as well. So I was really feeling the Protect on the Shadow Rider, and I got this turn very right, and I doubled the Zamazenta, especially because Zamazenta couldn't Protect this turn. So I felt doubling it was safe, or they'd have to go for the double. But yeah.
And I feel like that's also the strength of that AV POW too, because like you're not really like you're not really ever at risk of dying to Shadow Rider. Like POW is really glass, like he's really frail, but he easily just takes this, and then you can just pick him up later with the Sucker Punch if you want it.
Yep. Like even if they get boosts, like their Astral still is not doing enough.
Mm-hmm. That was just a very clean game. That was a clean game.
Yeah. So that one's very clean. I got some more turns right. He got some turns right, but I think the lead was really good for me. Just calling out and getting that turn 1 scout, making it easy to attack the Amoonguss on the next turn.
Yeah, I feel like you said, like you kind of called his lead, and you knew the matchup, you knew what you needed to do, and then I honestly did not know Amoonguss could die to Psychic. Like all of mine have always lived that. That's always the benchmark Alex puts on my Amoongusses, but
yeah.
I just didn't know that could even die.
Honestly, I was thinking that like, oh, everyone's EVing for this, but apparently there are people still on the physical defensive Amoonguss train. And here what I'm thinking is like Amoonguss, that went so poorly for him. I don't think he leads it again. So I'm feeling very good about going back to the Zamazenta Chienpao lead, because as long as he doesn't do what he did game 2, this is usually good for me. And I don't know exactly why he led Pao Shadow Rider. I think it's good into some Shadow Rider leads that I could do, but I'm definitely feeling extremely happy at this point because I feel like my Pao is looking amazing here. Like I'm gonna get so much value.
He's not threatened at all, right? Like there's literally just like nothing he can do to it.
And the Icy Wind is amazing because I actually didn't even look at the Pao ability activations to know for speed tying, but anyway, yeah, Icy Wind is so good because it would make my Zamazenta faster than Pao. It would make my Zamazenta faster than Shadow Rider, and it would chip the Shadow Rider's Focus Sash. So I felt very, and I didn't think he was gonna try to burn a Terra Ghost really early because I thought he wanted to try and preserve that, and like he wouldn't get much value out of keeping the Pao around in that turn 1 anyway. So I felt Icy Wind Body Press was so safe.
Yeah,
would damage anything.
This is the best situation for him, right? Where he takes half on his Amoonguss. Is that?
Yeah, and like the amazing part is that Sword of Ruin Body Press. It doesn't matter if your Amoonguss is resisting it; it still does so much damage.
And we know that he's like pure defense Amoonguss too, and he still just like got destroyed.
Yeah, and I ended up going for Body Press. I believe I was thinking about Heavy Slam, depending on like what's in the back. But I think I ended up going for Body Press because it would just be objectively better, like if he were to switch in the Zamazenta or something. Like I don't really think he was going to, but in the like weird scenario where he did just bring in Zama, like Body Press would be so much better, and it would kill Amoonguss anyway. And that's who I wanted to target because I was thinking he might go for something like that, or I thought he would switch the Shadow Rider, honestly, but he Encores me, so it worked out really well. Like the Body Press also covered for that. I really was thinking he would switch Shadow Rider into something. But it was scary to call out, like Body Pressing the Shadow Rider, for example.
I think it's also like your Body Press is really important too, because you do because he Encored, if you didn't click Body Press there, you were just gonna like fire it into. You could have hit Shadow Rider, and like you could have lost the game, right? If he got the Spore off, that would have been
exactly. So it's always good in front of that Encore to sometimes stick with your same moves if they work out okay. And yeah, I had done a lot of that encore, forcing them to get a random target throughout the tournament. I don't know if that had gone through my head, maybe even subconsciously on this turn of like, it's good to stay with the same move. But yeah, it ended up working out really well. And here I'm feeling amazing because I have my Chien Pao on the field. The Shadow Rider, I just got to -1. I chipped its Focus Sash, and I think the game is actually looking pretty over at this point.
And you got a KO, right? Like, it's just so good. The Icy Wind is just so good. Your lead was just it just destroyed him basically.
Yeah. I think maybe he had called me trying to do something else after like the game 1 and not doing it game 2, but I just felt in most cases the Zama Pao was so good into the mirror. And that Icy Wind, the Icy Wind was everything here. I didn't even know going into like this tournament that Icy Wind was going to be so good for the Sash Shadow Rider mirrors. It was actually more for like those Life Orb ones. But yeah, it's so good. I guess any Shadow Rider Zama mirror just to make their Zama slower. And yeah, here's a big turn. I thought he's behind. He's going to have to try to make a read. And he's going to catch me. Like last game, I had, played around the Shadow Rider attacking. I had targeted the other slots with my Chien Pao. So I thought this turn he does attack. And let's see what happens. Do I get this call right? I do. And yeah, this is like you can see he like grimaces and I'm looking very happy in that moment. I get the Sucker Punch. I think he has to like try and gain an advantage at that point and play around kind of the safe targeting the Zamazenta. So I really felt that a Shadow Rider attack was coming because a Protect was like so safe on it.
And now at this point, like, there's nothing he can really do. You're up 4-2, and you've taken like, what was that? 2 Rocky Helmets? Is that?
Yeah. That's pretty much it. His Chien Pao can't protect. I think he still has Terra, right?
He does still have Terra, yeah.
Yeah, so like that throws in a little bit of a loop of like, oh, what move do I click? But yeah, Icy Wind feels amazing here. Also, I was thinking too, if he doesn't kill the Pao, then with 2 Icy Winds, I'll start to have my Bolt be faster than things, which I have in the back. So I was feeling pretty good about Icy Wind and just getting off some guaranteed body press damage. And then I'd also have my Bolt in the back. And if he didn't KO Pao, I could get off another one. But yeah.
I feel like at this point, too, you just know you won, right? Like, there's just like, as long as you don't like mess up some turns, like as long as you hit your Icy Winds, you should just be chilling, right?
Yeah, I was a little scared about like, I don't know, potentially getting enough damage onto the Zamazenta, but I still have my whole Shadow Rider in the back. Like, yeah, Chien Pao can Sucker Punch it, but it being able to, I just wanted to get things into like Astral and Psychic range and in range of my last moves. Yeah, so he does KO the Pao. I won't get to do my funny Icy Wind thing, but I still have such a Pokemon advantage here that I think it's pretty much over for him and good for me at this point.
Yeah, now you're not on court anymore, so now this is just a free. You could just protect body press. You could attack if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
Because he can't Terra that Pao, so now it's just a sitting duck.
Remember, too, I have the Icy Wind drop, so my Zamazenta is faster than everything.
Yep.
So he has to go for, I believe, an Ice Shard crit if he wants the Pao to stay alive, because otherwise I can just body press it. It can protect. He goes for the Ice Shard. He does not get the crit. If he got the crit, maybe things would have actually been a little scary for me, because I think Zamazenta would have been in range of one more Psychic, and my Raging Bolt in the back can live Ice Spinner, so I think I still could have. But yeah, he maybe would have stayed in the set. Yeah, no crit means that this game is over.
Yep, and then Calyrex will obviously live, and he does crit you, but it does not matter.
Yeah, just there's a lot of like, I don't know, a lot of ways that all these turns can go in the Zamazenta mirror, and you have a lot of options. And I felt like I had played it a lot, so I was just kind of happy with my experience in it. Even though I did totally flub that game 1, that was a massive choke. Just ignore that. That was nerves for sure.
Dude, you just wanted to beat him 3 times in a row. Like, that's just the respect, you know?
Yeah,
you just
very
you
happy.
Like...
Zach came and hugged me. Yeah.
How did it feel when you won that set, right? That's like the big one, as we mentioned earlier. How
Yeah,
did it feel while you're up
it
there?
felt awesome, but also I didn't know all the top 4 rewards at this point in time. So I think it would have felt more awesome if I knew what that meant. I was just like, yeah, I get to stay in the tournament. Like, this is awesome. I didn't even know that like I auto-qualified for Worlds at that point.
I like how that's the thing that you're like focused on, not the trophy. You're like, dude, I don't have to play as much next year.
No, okay, auto-qualifying for Worlds means I don't have to play frickin' Reg H GCs. So
That's true. That's true. You don't have to play any GCs, dude. You just get to
yeah,
chill.
that's why it's so exciting to me. But yeah, this Sucker Punch turn, you know, I had a lot of experience with those kinds of mind games, and that just kind of won me the game right there. And it's funny, I saw MDB was on a podcast today on Tub Takes, and he was mentioning how he does not like mind games, which I thought that was so interesting. Like he said, he likes to try to win in the builder.
Yeah.
But yeah, it ended up working out for me, and obviously he's a very good player. He played that very well. He did what he needed to do to stay in the games, even when things were looking bad for both sides, or for his side. But yeah, it was just a very, very crazy set. There weren't that many there were a couple Shadow Rider speed ties, but it wasn't like every game came down to the Shadow Rider speed tie. That's what it felt like when I played Emilio at Portland when I didn't have Icy Wind. It just felt like speed tie.
Yeah.
But you know, when I have the Icy Wind, I think it makes some of the lines more consistent.
Yeah, I feel like it was really only that first game, and that was because like the turn 1 went so poorly, and then like you were still in a spot to potentially win because of the speed tie. But the last 2, it really didn't feel like you said, it just didn't. The game 3 there was nothing. Like you just took control and spammed Icy Wind. Yeah,
and I was so happy too that I went with my gut in this tournament and went with that slower Zamazenta because I had Icy Wind. Because slow, like bulky Zamazenta is so good in like so many matchups. But it really sucks in the mirror versus other Shadow Riders Zamazenta. But just because I had that Icy Wind, it meant I wasn't like at a disadvantage in all of these matchups. And I played a lot of mirrors. I think 50% of my matchups at Worlds were versus Shadow Riders Zamazenta.
50% is crazy, dude. That's nuts.
I was playing all these Shadow Riders that I had studied.
How many of them were Sash? Was it just like, was it Michael or?
I think Michael was Sash, and then I think most of the other ones were actually the Life Orb version.
Okay.
I think I played Mateo, who won. I think he won Bologna. He was Sash actually. So that one we had a lot of like mind games that we had to navigate in weird speed ties, and it was very fun to talk with him after the set because we're like, oh, but what if this had happened? Then, you know, he was a super nice guy. But he was just Sash, and then most of the other people were like I played Torviv, and he was Life Orb. I played Alistair Sandover, who was I think Life Orb, and that was Torn Smeargall.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great run. I'm really happy for you, obviously. It was really fun to watch this set live, too, like, in the venue. Just rooting for you, because I don't remember the last time I had a friend go so deep into the tournament, you know? Like, where I was actually able to, like where I cared to be there and cheer them on, you know?
Yeah. Did everyone go crazy when I got that Sucker Punch call?
Oh yeah, dude, we knew it was over, dude. We were nuts.
I was so locked in. I was like not really thinking about the crowd at all.
Yeah, because like I feel like also like everyone was just so loud when you like won. I mean, it was a really cool like it was it's a good underdog story, right? Like obviously you're an amazing player, and like you're not that below Michael that it's like, oh my god, how did he do it? But like especially when you took Michael like to your he came to your domain, right? He had to play a Shadow Rider Zama mirror. So it wasn't surprising at all that you were able to defeat him, but it was still just a hype matchup going into Worlds.
Yeah, and I think the experience definitely helped there of me of using it a lot. And I think he had said like he had played one best of 3. Like it is so crazy that he got so far, like only having played one practice set with the team at all. So props to him. But yeah, I was definitely the underdog in terms of like player achievements going in. So I was just happy to make a good showing of it.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what you can do, this year. I feel like I talk about a lot with Raghav and Alex, but like I feel like it's all about like momentum, right? And when you have this kind of performance where you're like, like obviously you have that skill, now you believe in yourself even more, right? And you're gonna go to tournaments, you're like, I'm fucking 4th in the world. I'm ready to play some Pokemon now, right? So I'm super excited to see what you can do this season and like for future worlds, because now you know you can do it.
Yeah, and Pokemon is honestly, it's such a mental game. Like, I think it's actually like mostly a mental game of like, how are you feeling about yourself and your capabilities on the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is exciting. And also it takes the world's qualification takes the stakes off too, where I'm just like, hey, I'm just here to win. I don't need to try to qualify for worlds. I'm here to just try to like ball out and play the best I can if I'm going to show up to tournaments or have fun. I think, I've always been good about having fun at tournaments, even in like high pressure situations. So I'll definitely be able to maintain that now that I don't have to worry about worlds qualification.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little bonus, and the money and the trophy and the card.
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats once again, and thanks for joining me today. I think we got a lot of insight into the Shadow Rider mirror and just how that matchup played out. I think it was pretty sick.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be on the channel.
Yeah, and obviously I'll link your Twitter down below so people can follow you there. But yeah, any shout outs?
Mostly just want to shout out Zach, of course, for everything. And I guess for the team itself, I didn't talk about this a whole lot, but I had worked on it with Samvi, and then also Chappa and Andrew Ding helped out as well. Andrew didn't end up taking the team, but we all like had ran some lines and stuff the day before. So shout out to them, of course, for helping with the team. And Samvi is goated for that Icy Wind idea.
Yeah, because did Samvi make top cut or no?
I think he was one game away, and I think it was a misclick.
Yeah, I remember the tweet.
Yeah. So on it, the team actually had a crazy conversion rate because, like, I got top 4 with it, and then Chuppa cut, and then Sambi was 1 game away from cut, and we were the only 3 that brought those exact 6 Pokemon. But
it's actually nuts.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild for Worlds too.
Yeah.
Like, and this Worlds was like really, really hard. Like everyone I played was like no joke. Like they were all good. Like it felt like truly one of the hardest Worlds I've ever played at. So like the top 4 of that's a big accomplishment.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you, Mont, for joining me. We'll see you next time.